And it says we're live. So, is there anyone waiting for us? Let's have a look. Is there anyone in the chat? There's no one in the chat, brother. So it's just you and I here testing your live stream. So far, so good.
Mm-hmm. Hey, how are you, Andrew? Good?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Always a pleasure to catch up with you, and looking forward to doing some more shows with you. Hey, we were talking a little bit off air about obviously the passing of Eddie Van Halen, and I just mentioned to you that it's sort of sinking in over the last couple of days that, Eddie Van Halen's not around. You got any thoughts you want to share on that?
It's been since he passed, like a week and a bit now. I still haven't been able to listen to a full album. I know that sounds really strange. I'll get halfway through. I put Van Halen 1 on, but I was doing things around the house while that was playing, and then I put Van Halen 2 on, and just there's just moments. I put it on in the car the other day. I put 5151 on in the car. I got about 3 songs in, a bit more than that. I think when it got to How Will I Know When It's Love, and I just got too emotional, turned it off. I'm not quite ready. I'm not quite ready to listen to it and celebrate it that way. I mean, it took me a few days to really want to even pick up the guitar, and I'm doing everything I can just to distance myself from that style of playing at the moment, even though I don't play that way. But any really fast rock tapping or anything like that it's a no-go zone for me, because that was Ed's thing, Although I will say this, Andrew, I've watched a few YouTube stuff, like interviews with him, and I've found that's been a little bit it's been easier to accept it that way, just listening to him talk and listen, especially around that 2015 when he did a few interviews, and one really long one in front. I don't know what the interview was. It was for like a thing of celebrating people coming to America, I think, or something, where he's discussing his influences but his life history. He talks about that. It's the one that he talks about where he says, he'd want to jam with his dad again. If someone asks him if you had the chance to jam with someone deceased, who would it be? And he pauses for a while and goes, my father. That one, I watched that in its entirety, and those sort of things. Okay, it's just something about the harmonies and the connection, like that emotive stuff, like the happy songs, like the ones like Hot for Teacher and things like that. I can deal with them. It's more the How Will I Know When It's Loves and things like that, where they got to I don't know why. It's just I'm like, okay, I'll listen to that when I'm ready. Yeah.
I look like I fully and totally understand where you're coming from. And I just want to echo a couple of little things that you said there too, Brad. What's really interesting is, I don't care, Brad, if other musicians out there don't get Eddie Van Halen. It doesn't. People are hating on. Who's the guy that was in David Crosby? Because he wasn't disrespectful. He was not disrespectful to Eddie. He just said, for me it will always be Hendrix. Now I understand that. I dig that. The guy's, a contemporary of Hendrix. I understand that. But in people's grief, I just don't get this thing where people are, I don't think Eddie would want that. I don't think Eddie would want people to swamp Facebook pages saying David Crosby's a douchebag.
No, and I think that it's everyone's entitled to an opinion. So just because one person doesn't, connect with it the same way that say you and I do, or someone else that I know that's a massive Van Halen fan, it's there's each to their own. Each person's different. Each person can say, look, I appreciated him, but it didn't really do that for me, and that's fine too. I mean, we're not really saying
I
that.
get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, I'm not a big Rush fan. I'm not a big Rush fan, but I appreciate Neil Peart, what he did and who he influenced, because I'm a Dream Theater fan. I see where he fits in that whole scheme of rock drumming. But don't don't hate me because I say to you, no, I prefer John Bonham. You know, come on.
Yeah, look, those sort of things to me are they're people vibrating on a fairly low frequency. To me, they like to have some sort of negative spin on things, and I mean, God, we're going through enough in the world at the moment without negativity and people coming up with all these conspiracy theories and this and that, and it's like, oh man, just stay in the present moment. Let's just, like, okay, someone passes away, just appreciate them for what they were. I mean, you rightfully or wrongfully, Eddie Van Halen was a whether you like him or not is what I'm trying to say. He was a massive game changer in the industry and in rock music. And
big time.
If you deny that, then you basically, in my eyes, you're an idiot. But that's
yeah.
You don't have to like it. You don't have to like the music of Van Halen, but you should be appreciating the fact that he was a game changer. If you're not, then there's a massive issue there with yourself. It's nothing to do with, But if someone coming out and saying, "Look, he didn't really blow my hair back, but Hendrix was more my cup of tea," well, that's fair enough too. But it's not like he wasn't acknowledging Eddie's ability or what he did as a game changer. I mean, halfway through watching this doco I found on YouTube, goes for about 2 hours. It's around that 51-50 era with Sammy, where he's joined the band and this and that. It's quite a long doco. I haven't watched it all yet. But, I mean, you watch that stuff and you go, around that time, like, there was no one really doing what those guys did. And even when Dave left the band and Sammy came in, they changed the game again. They were writing songs that changed the history of rock. So it's like when people knock Hendrix, I don't even shake my head anymore. I just go, whatever. Yeah.
Well, I'm an old man, Brad. I remember when Michael Jackson, when Beat It came out with Eddie Van Halen, who was my fan, and we were going crazy over that. We were just going, wow. Even if you weren't at that stage a Michael Jackson fan, a lot of cats were listening to Michael Jackson, because of Eddie Van Halen. And, you go and listen to that song now, it's still, I won't say it, cool.
It gives you goosebumps. It gives you goosebumps. And that's, that's the thing. When music does that to you, it's touching you on another level. That's just how I see it. So, but
I'm just going to interrupt you, Brad. We got Steve Anderson and Simon Williams in the chat, so they're going to be with us next Saturday when we do the repeat of the Van Halen show. Brad seems to have got his internet speed going, so he hasn't lagged, guys, which is great. Are you guys picking it up all right?
That's good. I'm glad, because I've worked pretty hard on this one. I won't go into it, but, my internet provider certainly copped an earful this week.
Yeah. Well, so they should, because I had the same situation with mine. I had to change. They gave me 2, and I ended up with 3 modems because 3 different modems, because it's all on the frequencies and stuff like that, So I just kept on the phone, and lucky enough, the reason why I got that sorted, mate, is because we were in lockdown, so I had the time to spend 4 hours on the phone talking to someone. You see Simon's saying no lag. Awesome.
Thumbs up. I've found I can't actually speak to anyone now. It's all through texting and messaging now through my they don't you haven't actually got someone that you can speak to anymore. That's gotten to that.
Really?
It's all through yeah. So it's and like you're trying to explain to them, and I'm not tech savvy in that sense, where I don't want to be spending hours typing stuff out, but yeah, you spend hours typing stuff out and then they respond back to you like completely off tangent to where you are. It's like, no, you're not reading my text message. Read it. Anyway. But we got to the bottom of it, I think, and I've also I've adapted a different device that I'm using, which I think works a lot better as well. So,
Awesome. I appreciate
stepping it
it.
up
Well,
a bit.
what we should do is we should go and after we've done the Van Halen show and you got a bit of time, redo the interview that we did with you as well. That'll be cool. I'd like to do that again. Fire some questions through to you. I know you a little bit now, so I've got some trick questions to fire in there.
Well, bring it on. I say I'm up for it. I'm always up to talk. So it's great talking to you, Andrew. So I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. Simon and I certainly do, and I know that Steve Anderson do, because that bit that you were on with us, was pretty cool. And they appreciate the fact that you've got some input there that can help share with us and develop our own understanding, because Simon and I make no bones about it. It's a selfish thing that we're doing. It's got to be from the word go. It's about us. And then if people jump on and think, actually, what that Brad Cat's talking about is pretty good.
Hopefully, if someone can take this much away from what I'm saying, I'm happy, because I feel like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to what I'm good at. And if someone learns from that, then great. That's the whole point of these things, is to communicate and share knowledge and share valid opinions, not necessarily negative issues, like raising the bar, keeping it positive, and going down that avenue of trying to help each other as a community. And look, we're all got a common interest, and that's the beautiful thing about music. It's we're all in that Micronesian music we love, and we talk about it. And just on that, I wanted to thank you guys for not skipping any tracks off the Hendrix album on Sunday.
Well, Simon brought that up a few times. He made sure too. He said, "Yeah." Oh, look at some.
I was ready to text you guys if there was a problem.
I just love the album. I just, I've got it on CD. The DVD that comes with the CD pack on how they made it, even is it's just amazing. And I think that's something that I'd like to talk to you on some more shows, because how you've produced your own tracks for your own MP, and has any of this classic production, that you've read and heard about over the years, has that had some kind of influence on how you've produced your music, the way that you've situated your mics? Yeah, I'd be, man, I can't wait for that show.
Yeah, massive influence, mate, massive. If you really dig deep into how I recorded everything, obviously I play the way I do. I don't ever try to play like anyone else. I just channel what I want to try and get out. But I lean quite heavily on recordings that I love and I listen to it for ideas. So you even in your subconscious, when you're recording a song, you're hearing certain things in your head. You're trying to get that down on a recording, the sounds, this and that. Like the techniques, the sounds, the arrangements, the way the mix is, the panning, everything. It's all putting it. But watching things like that, the making of the Hendrix Experience album and things like that, they go a long way in helping me create, because we all draw influence from somewhere, because anyone that denies that would be an idiot, because it comes from somewhere, but you're influenced by people. That's whatever you're listening to influences you, even if you don't mean to try and sound like that. It'll come through some way.
Yeah, I look, I agree, and I think one of the key things for me about Hendrix is that my love for him as a musician has grown over the years. It took me a while to appreciate, and I'll always stick my hand up and say that, Brad. I'll never forget. It took me 10 years to understand Exile on Main Street. All the album. it took me to understand what it was as a whole, as a concept. And but one of the things that I like about Jimi Hendrix, and I'll stand by it to the day I die, is that he was pretty much a complete musician. He was involved in the production, he was involved in the composition, he was involved in the way that the drumming and the bass was all recorded and played. He sang, he wrote, he designed shit.
That's the whole thing of like a true genius in my eyes. They've got a vision, and they follow it through with the best they can, and then usually never happy. I mean, they get to a point where they've got it down. I mean, they recorded in record times back then, like they had timelines, deadlines, and what we're listening to is history being made every time we listen to that record. So when I listen to Hendrix, for example, I hear something new in it every time I listen. I mean, I had this discussion with someone the other day. Doesn't matter how many times I've listened to, say, the album Axis Boulder's Love. Every time I put on Castles Made of Sand or, the song Axis Boulder's Love, I'm hearing something completely different. And then I'll be jamming along on my guitar and I go, holy hell, I'm playing the wrong thing there. I've been playing it wrong for 20 years. And I because I'm hearing things every time I listen to it. So when I say that, it's not the wrong chord or whatever. It's just a voicing or an inflection or something that, there was something like, I think it was Spanish Castle Magic off that album. Always in the years, I've always learned it on guitar, playing it a certain way, and I thought I knew it backwards. And then one day I just put it on, and there's one extra note in the riff that I was missing. And that just came out because I put it on, and I went, and just listen to it and go, I'm playing that wrong. I've been playing it wrong for however long I've been playing that song. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
isn't that great about that album, or a lot of the albums? You can play along with it as basic as you want, which is pretty much how we all start out. And before we actually get a guitar, it might be a tennis racket we're playing. If we're honest. But then obviously you get to a level of competency within yourself where you know a few licks, you know a little bit of the scales that Jimmy's playing, and then you develop your ear, and then you can do exactly what you said, Brad. You can go as full geek mode as you want and go, that's the note, that's the gravy.
Yeah. I think that comes from maturing as a musician. You start to hear things differently as well. I mean, there'll only ever be one of each great in my eyes. There's no point trying to copy them, and that's, I'm a big advocate for create your own voice and be your own musician. I think that's so important. But when you're in, like, say, you want to learn a song and you want to learn it because you're breaking it down, you want to work out what's happening in the song. That's when, if you can hear these things. But it's funny. I mean, I've been playing in a Guns N' Roses show since the early 2000s. I think 2000, 2001. It's a long time. And I still put on Appetite for Destruction, and I still hear things. I'm like, oh, am I doing that? Like, I actually have to adjust my way of thinking. And I know that stuff backwards. I can do it
Can we do a Guns N' Roses show before Christmas? I know Christmas is coming up and we've got a few shows planned, but I'd love... Man, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I am a freaking Guns N' Roses nut. That Appetite for Destruction album is a masterpiece. I just love it. I just love that album. Everything about it. The fact that Slash recorded it with a cheap guitar on a borrowed hired amp, the bass guitar that Duff was playing was some piece of crap. The drum set Steven Adler had was some mate, and
happy to, mate. Happy to do that show. That album in itself is like that was a game changer as well for rock music. I mean, for me, the first time I heard that, I wasn't even playing guitar at the time when I heard that album. And I was young. I was at first year of high school or something. I can't remember. Year 7, 87. Did it come out? Yeah. So I was in, and the first time I heard that, it literally blew me against the wall. It was, I had it in headphones. I was listening to it, just going, but it reminded me of like Aerosmith, because I heard a lot of Aerosmith in my upbringing and stuff, and it reminded me of Aerosmith but heavier. And every time I heard Slash break into a lead break or play those licks or whatever, I heard Jimmy Page for some reason. I just, and Joe Perry, I heard those two quite significantly up front. And then the more I listen, I can hear, like at the Paradise City, he's blatantly copied like some Eddie Van Halen licks there, like so the influences are there without probably him even trying, but that album was a game changer as well. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, throughout time, you can almost, watermark where music changed, because at that time there was a lot of bands around, and at school I was called hippie because like I always listened to Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and Cream and all these bands where, when everyone was listening to Motley Crue and, Kickstart My Heart, and I just didn't like it at the time. The only bands I liked were, that were modern were Van Halen and Guns N' Roses, The rest of them
Mate, I've got some similar experiences with you. Izzy Stradlin, writing those songs, and some of those isolated rhythm tracks he's playing. And I opened that album up, and they're sitting there with those aviator sunglasses and a keg. And it reminds me of like the Rolling Stones, in 72, and then you read a guitar magazine and Izzy Stradlin says he loves Keith Richards. And I'm going, oh my gosh,
You can definitely distinguish from a guitar perspective on that album. You can hear, if you pan it hard left, it's Izzy. Majority of that is Izzy. Pan right, it's all hard right, it's all Slash, but Slash's lead tracks bleed over. But you can really hear the Ronnie Wood, Keith Richards playing from Izzy on the left side. And the way they wrote guitar parts together, well, they didn't write it together, they just worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And whatever one was doing, one would do, like Izzy play something and Slash would double what Duff was playing on bass or something, it would just be they were just unique, and the chemistry was there. There was that, for me, they came out with real sounds as opposed to really thin guitar sounds. And I mean, I've learned to appreciate music from that era more so now, because I've played a lot of it and things like that. And I go, oh, that's quite cool. And I like how Motley Crue drop all the way down to D instead of E or E flat and things like that. But at the time, I was just a nut for the 70s and 60s music, and I was growing up in that era where everyone was listening to what was current and I wasn't. And then Guns N' Roses hit me, and that was it for me. That was a game changer. I talk about Pagey and Hendrix. They made me go buy a guitar, but Slash made me become the player I am, I think, really. Just because I had to learn all that stuff as well. So I had to learn all that stuff. Hard work too. It wasn't easy to sit and learn all that stuff properly. So.
Oh, no. And anyone that thinks that stuff is easy, even the rhythm guitar and the patterns and, the chords and, that Izzy does is fascinating. And then they come out with Guns N' Roses Appetite, GNR Lies, which has got that acoustic side, and that blows us all away. 1 in a million, and acoustic, and then so all of a sudden we throw our electric guitars away, and then we're buying bongo drums and acoustic guitars, Brad.
Well, there was something just unique about those guys. I mean, it's kind of like the whole thing we talked about Van Halen before. They were all unique at what they did. I mean, Eddie was obviously off the you know, he was like Hendrix. He was like from another planet. He was definitely from somewhere else, and things were coming through him at such a young age. You think about how old those guys were; it's unbelievable, really. They were so young, and they were just so innovative. So to think that what they achieved at that age is remarkable and outstanding, really. I mean, but I mean, look. That era for Guns N' Roses was, you know, even for me when they released the Illusion albums. I mean, the first thing I heard was "You Could Be Mine." I bought it on CD cassette
single,
and I put it in my thing, and I put it on, and the drums immediately sounded different to me. But it was even like the guitar tones were tearing. It was like. It was like it mashed my brain. It was unbelievable. It was like, it just hit me. Like there's some things, I mean, and not everyone likes Guns N' Roses, and I get that, you know, but for me, it was more about the music than the vocals and the lyrical content. It was just the music just hit me like there was so much attitude. But in saying that as well, like I grew to appreciate and love like the vocal and lyrical content, and the vocal ability of Axl obviously is quite unique as well. At the time, I did think his voice was borderline great and borderline annoying at the time, though. I do remember that because I
heard that argument too from a lot of my friends too. You know, I loved it. I loved that high pitch, but I heard that argument. That those first two albums, though, for me are it. Use Your Illusions. Yeah, I remember buying that. But my heart broke when Izzy left the band. We didn't really know the full story back then, but when we found out, you know, a little bit with social media, you know, that he had to ring his dad to say, "Dad, come and get me, because if I hang around in this band, I'm gonna die." Yeah. Man, you know, and his dad came and picked him up, eh? Wow.
Look, that's a, you know, for me, he did what was right for him, and I understand that now. You know, at the time, as a fan, you're devastated. I mean, Izzy was the coolest one in the band. It was like, oh man, you're losing the coolest member. So it's hard to replace it. He was a major part of the songwriting too. So I think obviously once he left, that they really kind of struggled to be creative after that. I think really, but I mean, we don't. That's the other thing too. We're all going off what everyone's read or this or that. We don't really even know the full story there either. So
we don't know his story. We don't know his story. You know, other than you know, I'm not a Izzy expert, but you know, I've read a little bit about him. I think Slash's book is one of the best biographies I've ever read. If you want the truth, if you want the nitty gritty, if you man, it's a shock if you've never read anything like that in your life, because. I just love that band. I just think it's a shame. It's a shame Axl turned out a little bit like, There's so many stories that in that book that just come to my mind then. So if you haven't read it, anyone, and we're not trying to promote sales of books or anything like that, but it's
just
a book.
Go and read it. There was one incident where they were about to play, I think it was Donington or something, and Slash and Izzy, I think, went to get a fix, and they couldn't get back in the venue, and they had to jump the fence, and security was trying to stop them. And that story had me in stitches, because I've had instances like that with my own band members on a way smaller scale, and it was just like, oh my God, it's like reading it. And that's
trying to get into the gig. I'm the drummer. I got. No, you're not.
I'm in the band. Let me in. You know,
I'm the singer.
You can't get in the venue, but I'm in the band. Let me in.
Yeah. We hear that every night. Piss off.
yeah, exactly. But that's a really good read, that one. But I'm just reading some of the comments. I liked the one that Simon had before, but that one's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes on, and then he comes out with that cool album for the Juju Hounds, man.
That's a cracking album. I went and saw Izzy in on that tour when he released that album on the Juju Hounds tour in Sydney. he played at this little club out in Parramatta, and in Sydney, New South Wales, and it was one of the most memorable gigs I've ever been to. He was stoned off his head. He was probably high as a kite, and he come out. He was just cool. They started with Pressure Drop, I think, and come out and just started rocking. And I was just thinking, he's just the coolest guy in the world. I remember he came out in the hat with the, he just had his jacket on, and I think he had a scarf on, and he was playing a big Gibson. No, he was playing his telly. I can't remember. He swapped around guitars, obviously, but I just remember he come out, and it was a small club, and everyone was just looking at him. Everyone kept screaming out Double Talk and Jive, and that was annoying me. I was just like, shut up, man. Let it go, mate. Or Dust and Bones. They're yelling out, like, sing Dust and Bones, and it's like 14 years. And I'm like, he's trying to distance himself from that. Like, people don't get that are fans, So
yeah. What a cool cat, and he's been prolific, man. He's released some albums. He's he's a man. I love that cat. I just
he one of the. I mean, you look at his albums that he's released. He's never even tried to push them, to promote them, or anything like that. He doesn't even care about success. He just wants to release music and put it out there, and all power to him. It's all about the music for him. That's the most important thing,
Isn't it nice that Slash and Steven Adler say some cool things about him too? They knew, they reinforce what we.
Yeah. I don't know if I've lost you, Andrew, or if it's me.
We know.
Andrew, you there? I think you're lagging. Don't think it's me. Like Mick Taylor leaving the Stones. It looks like I think I've lost Andrew. So I'm taking over the show. Am I? Looks like he's going to be on the phone to his provider, internet provider. I can't see any comments either, guys. So comments.
Okay, are you there, Brad? It wasn't you. It was my end. So
Yep.
But isn't that great that we managed to have a cool conversation, and we and I interrupted you. I managed to interrupt you properly.
I'm glad that was you dropping out, not me. I was like, when you dropped out, I don't know if you heard me, I was saying, well, he's going to be on the phone to his internet provider now.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm not on broadband where I am. Sorry, I'm not on fibre. I'm on broadband because where I live, I'm on a subdivided section, and for them to run the cable down, they're going to have to drill, but they can't guarantee that they won't hit anything, and if they hit anything, it's on me. So.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it was good to hang out with you. I won't keep this test live. It won't be on the channel. It's just a hang out for us.
Yep.
Simon and I are going to do a show on Sunday. If you want to jump in, I'll send you the link.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Awesome.
Just let me know. I'll be there.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I know that you've got stuff to do. Obviously. So don't break your neck to join us. But the invitation is always there. Okay. So
definitely. You know, obviously, I'm happy to come on all the time whenever you
Awesome.
want me. If I'm free, I'll jump on. It
Yeah,
helps kill a bit of time, and yeah.
cool. Well, you jump on with us on Sunday and have a chat. I'm going to be talking about Eric Clapton's From the Cradle album. So if you haven't
Very
checked that out at all, and if you've got a bit of time up your sleeve, you might want to just check out a couple of those songs.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
I'm all over that one. I know it very well.
awesome, mate, man. And the following Saturday, we've got Steve Anderson on, which is really good. So I'll be looking forward to that one because, as Simon said in the chat, you know, the proper Van Halen show that we thought we were going to do. But the least said about that show that doesn't exist, the better.
Yes. Okay. Well, definitely more than happy to jump on that one as well because obviously, you know, we've had a bit of time to process it all, I think, and you know,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, I think it's you know, it was great chatting to you the day it happened because that helped me a lot actually because we got to talk about it and celebrate him. But now talking about him as a past tense, it's still a bit strange.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Well, you know, I've been talking through my work to a lot of cats about Eddie who aren't guitar nuts. So I want to echo what you said earlier when we jumped on. You said, you know, a lot of people know Eddie for being a game changer, you know, because of music. So a lot of these guys know rock music, probably can't name all the albums, but might know 3 or 4 songs, but they're all saying, oh, wow, Eddie Van Halen, wow, you know, wow.
Yeah. It's been massive. I mean, everyone that I've spoken to that I know that loves Van Halen, especially 2 of my 2 guitar buddies that I know really well, have you know we've done some Zoom chats and stuff like that about like not publicly, just to discuss it, and I guess that's helped as well. So you know it's been I think one of my other mates that used to play in a band with me years ago, same thing, heavily influenced by Van Halen. We've spent like hours on the phone to each other in the last week or so, like each time an hour and a half, 2 hours, just, you know, late at night, just talking, you know, just trying to process it, I guess. And he reminded me of a lot of things that I'd forgotten and vice versa about Eddie. So that being said, that will definitely help with the content for moving forward, doing a proper Van Halen show in the future.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that's good. You know, from a selfish point of view, that's going to be good. That's going to help you, but also, you know, because you're a Van Halen nut and you bouncing off Steve Anderson, who's our Van Halen nut from Canada, and that guy's a Van Halen nut, man. That that guy's just.
The little bits and pieces that I did see, which obviously were very limited, you know, I was spent most of the time trying to get my NBN connected and things like that. But the things I did see, you know, he looked like he had quite a substantial collection there, and obviously I had this ready to sort of throw at everyone, but
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that, but that's Eddie's signature there.
Are you going to frame that?
Well, it's actually, I pulled it out into my and then when I met them after the signing, I had another opportunity to meet them, and then I got them to sign that inner card as well. So I don't know. And they put to Brad on that one, so that was cool. But I got to meet them, so. But yeah, I wanted to share that on the show. I'll share that. But that's now sitting near my computer to try and help with some inspiration to get me around this writer's block I'm having at the moment. So that's just, you know, we'll see.
Awesome, man. Hey, good to see you as usual. Keep safe. See you Sunday, and Yeah. Man, time flies. Look, we've been on here for 40 minutes, mate, and we didn't talk about anything except for Eddie Van Halen and Guns N' Roses.
As soon as you start talking about music, we're off, mate. It's off. That's it.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with Brad and I, Simon and Elin, and who else? We had the Rum Meister himself, and a couple of other people were lurking in the background there too, spying on us.
Mate, trust me, mate. I'm on social media, and I'm trying to obviously do like the content is king thing for myself, and there's some strange people out there and some stalkery type people, and they always sort of slip away in the background. So it's I know that. Yep.
Yeah, I got told before we go, I got told by a very, very good friend of mine after the episode that we had last weekend. He told me, he said, be careful as you grow your channel, as your presence grows, weirdos come out. Yeah,
I've had. We can talk offline.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Let's keep it.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.